Okay.
I knew something was missing. You didn't have the hat before.
What?
I knew something was missing. You didn't have the hat.
I have to have a hat. Can't study Talmud without a hat.
Absolutely.
Lamed Gimel?
Should we do Lamed Gimel, or should we continue on Gimel?
I think we should do Lamed Gimel, but we can do Gimel if you want. You're the Rav Mora Hora.
I would just continue with Gimel because I think if we continue with Lamed Gimel, we're never going to get past. I feel like we should go. We can go get to Lamed Gimel, then we'll come back to Bays. That's how I think we should do it.
Okay. You're the rabbi.
It's true. That's true. So the next part of the Gemara on 3a, Gimel Amud Aleph, it talks about, it gets to the next part. So in the Mishnah, we said, Dini Mabanos B'Shlosha and Gazelas V'Chavelas B'Shlosha, Nezek V'Chatzi Nezek, Tashlumik. Oh, so Nezek and Chatzi Nezek. So times when you're charged Nezek and Chatzi Nezek, which is referencing when your animals damage other property. That's also B'Shlosha. So we're going to talk about that in this Gemara. Do you want to read?
Sure. Although I'm less likely to actually know what I'm saying.
First time I ever read this Gemara, so I don't either know what's going on.
Yeah. Nezek hayinu chavelot mishum.
That was a question. Nezek hayinu chavelot, right?
What?
I think that's a question. That Nezek hayinu chavelot. That Nezek is. We already talked about damages, and Nezek seems to also be damages.
Right. Mishum the boy limitni chatzi nezek. So it mentions nezek because it needs to talk about chetzi nezek. Tani nami nezek shalem chetzi nezek. So it also needs to talk about all of nezek. In order to teach us about chetzi nezek, it needs to say nezek. Chetzi nezek nami hayinu chavelot tana mamona v'katani kinsa. It's talking about, I guess mamona means paying things back, and so it's teaching fines. What does Rashi say here?
Yeah, let's start with Rashi. It's a good idea. Hainu nezek, hainu chavelos. My kari nezek or my kari chavelos. So what's called nezek, which means damages, and what's called chavelos, which means damages. Like what's this double? It seems to me the same thing. So hanezek echad me chamisha dvarim shel chavelos. Nezek is one of the 5 items of chavelos, right? So the 5 items of damages are the damages itself, the recovery from like the hospital bills. There's the embarrassment. There's loss of work, and then there's the pain. And I guess pain is like, I think it's even referencing like emotional pain. I think.
Yeah.
So the point is though, is that one of the 5 is nezek. So why do we have to say, why do we have to say this twice in the Mishnah? Nezek and chavelos seem to be the same thing. So that's what Rashi is. V'lisni chavelos v'lo b'ay nezek. Once you teach chavelos, you shouldn't need to teach nezek. So Rashi continues, chatzi nezek nami hainu chavelos. Deshor tam shechavel ena mishalim as a chatzi nezek. Oh, so this is talking about the Gemara's answer. The Gemara tried to answer and say when it says that we needed to say nezek only to tell us about chatzi nezek, which is different than chavelos, which is different, the full damages. So Rashi says on that the short tam shechavel eno mishalim el chatzi nezek. A short time of damages, they don't have to. They only need to pay half the price.
Mhm.
Even the ton of chavelos, af chetzi nezek meshav. Once you teach chavelos, you're able to learn chatzi nezek. I don't know how though. Like how would you learn chatzi nezek from being that chavelos means damages, which is the full damages? How would you learn chatzi nezek from there? I have no idea.
Don't know.
Okay.
Chavelot mamonahu defchate ledme. Chatzi nezek kinsahu. So chavelot are considered money because it takes some of what he has. Chatzi nezek kinsahu. But chatzi nezek is a fine. The stam shvarim einam nokchen, that usually a bull does not gore. V'lo haya leba'alim l'shomro kol zman shelo hu'ad, and the people who own them don't have to take care of them, don't have to watch them as long as they haven't been warned. V'lo boy l'shlome midi, and he doesn't have to pay anything. Ela kinsahu the kanse rahmana kadei sheyirbe b'shmirat shvarim. But so the difference between nezek and chetzi nezek is just a monetary matter.
Right.
Chetzi nezek is a fine which God has imposed upon people who own bulls so that they should be careful that they wouldn't cause problems.
Right. So nezek is, I guess we would call a standard consequence for damaging someone else's property. But chatzi nezek is already, it's already considered like a, how would you say it? Like not within your standard requirements to be so careful. Therefore, it's just a fine. But now, how do we get that all back into the Gemara now?
Good question.
So how do we? So the first step is nezek hainu chavel. That's the question of the Gemara. The Gemara answers mishum the kabbai lemisnei chatzi nezek. One to use chatzi nezek. So tananami nezek shalim. So therefore, it taught us nezek shalim first. But then the Gemara asks chatzi nezek nami hainu chavelos. But chatzi nezek is also chavelos. I think that is that a question. I think that's a question.
Yeah, it's saying okay. So both of these are chavelot. And then the answer is
got it. Okay.
So.
Got it. So it wants to teach us that there's two separate categories here. Okay. Got it. Okay. So then the Gemara continues.
Hanichan l'ma'an the Amar Pulga Niska Kinsa Ela l'ma'an the Amar Pilga Niska Mamona.
Mike Lamemar. That's like one long question. So Hanicha L'man Davar, that literally means like that's good according to the opinion that says Pal Ganiska Kansa, that half of Chatzi Nezek is a fine, right? Half damages is a fine. But according to the opinion that says half damages is part of Mamon, it's not just a fine, it's actually you have to pay that amount. Michael Lamemar. Then what is that opinion gonna how is that opinion gonna interpret our Mishnah?
Ela Aidi the cowboy lemitna tashlume kefel the tashlume arba v'chamisha the mamon, saying that since we need to teach double damages, double payments, and quadruple and quintuple damages, she'eno mishtalem barosh hu tani nami chetzi nezek. Because those things, what is Rashi says she'eno mishtalem barosh, shemishalem yoter min hakeren, v'chetzi nezek mishalem pachot min hakeren. Barosh hayinu keren. Aha. Chtiv v'shalem oto barosho. Right? Since we're talking about things where you don't actually pay the real amount, that the actual amount of the capital, right? So it's going to teach us chetzi nezek so that it can teach tashlomei kefel, right? Double, quadruple, and quintuple.
Right. Or is it saying? Wait, no. So it's saying, so the way it says el the kabbalah the it's just the reverse. Once the Mishnah is talking about double and 4 and 5, which we know is completely different than chavelos, obviously, right? Then it's gonna, once we're on the topic of consequences that are not the literal damages, even though chatzi nezek.
Hold on, but it hasn't taught what you call it. Oh, it did. No, it's look.
Yeah.
Dine mamonot b'shlosha, gezelot v'chavelot b'shlosha, nezek v'chetzi nezek, tashlumei kefel v'tashlumei arba v'chamisha b'shlosha. Right. So first it says nezek. So it's going along the thing, right? So we said dine mamonot b'shlosha, right?
Yeah.
So we start with gezelot v'chavelot b'shlosha, right? Nezek, which really didn't need to teach because it was already in chavelot. It's already included in chavelot. And according to this Tana, even chetzi nezek is in, but then it needs to teach tashlomei, right? So that's what do you mean?
No, it's the way the Gemara is saying it. It's flipping it. It's the same thing, but it's flipping it. The
what do you
Gemara
mean?
says that once, meaning. The question is why should we say, what do you call it? If it's nezek, according to that one mandamar, it's considered damages. Why listed here, right?
Right.
So the Gemara answers, right? Since the Mishnah needed to talk about damage, about times double payment, quadruple, and whatever that other word is, quintuple payment.
Yeah.
Right. So since the Mishnah needed to say that,
right,
that's definitely not standard nezek payment.
Right.
And once we're doing that, we'll tell you another non-standard thing, which is chatzi nezek, which is half damages.
No, you got it backwards. It's saying it's funny. We're saying the same thing.
I know,
but
read it in the Gemara. Look how the Gemara.
I'm reading it in the Gemara. It's saying. Hold on.
Two lines from the bottom. LID. That's when the Gemara's answer begins. It's like a 3-line answer.
Bottom of Gimel Aleph.
Yeah.
My ika lememar ela ID the ka boy lemitni. Yeah, since it needs to teach the tashlomei kefel, right? Since it needs to teach them, the tashlomei arba'ad v'chamisha v'mamon she'eino mishtalem barosh,
right?
Hu tana nami chetzi nezek, right? So it also teaches chetzi nezek.
Correct. So because it wanted to teach these
right, that's why it mentions nezek, right?
And that's why it then says once it's already mentioning these cases that we had to mention anyhow. Because it goes into the category of payments that are not the literal one-to-one damages, right? So
but that's why it's going. So you have an order in the Mishnah, right? You start Dine Mamonot, Chavelot Hodaot, was it?
Gezelot
Chavelot, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes nezek, which is part of that. It didn't need to say it, but it gives you a connection to chetzi nezek, and which, according to this man de Amar, is still it didn't need to teach. And then it goes, so you have an order in the Mishnah. There's a connection. Okay. So what are we arguing about?
No, I'm just saying that it's not here.
It wouldn't have mentioned Nezek if it didn't need to talk about Tashlim Kefel, of course.
Correct. Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's creating a connection.
Correct.
Okay. No.
I think we agree then. Okay.
Okay. So what are we arguing?
So it's just a good argument for the sake of argument. That's perfect.
This is what it really means. L'shem Shemayim. Okay. Exactly. No. Okay. The boy mitni chetzi nezek tana nami chetz. Right. So here he says a beferish, right? Tani nami chetzi nezek the mamon she'eno mishtalim barosh who the ID the boy lemitni chetzi nezek tana nami nezek.
Oh, I think about the Mr. Chazinas. Oh, okay, got it. Oh, we missed the last line. Okay, perfect. Okay, we missed one Rashi on the page before on Gimel with Aleph. Paul Niska Mamona, Parak Arba Avos, Pligi Ba Dikasavar Stam Storm Navimheim. Oh, okay. So there's an argument there of whether or not a regular shar is considered whether an ox is susceptible to be an animal that causes damage. So
he says that Chetzi Nezek is actually what you call it is a leniency that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is saying you only have to pay half.
Oh,
right.
Got it.
That's a chas. That's not a knas. It's a chas.
Right, the chas. So like God is like merciful on ox owners.
On ox owners that even though they should have been more careful,
right,
and pay and be liable for the entire thing, they're only liable for half.
Got it. Okay, and then we're on to the next Gemara.
Yeah.
Shlosha
Minalan.
Go for it.
Shlosha Minalan. So where do we get this idea of 3 by Tashlim Kefel, I guess? The Tana Rabbanan.
I think it's asking by all, or
by all of them?
Meaning, how do we know 3? How do we know we need 3 judges? I think.
Okay. The Tana Rabbanan v'nikra Baal Habayit El HaElohim, right? So it says in the Torah. So the Mishnah brings that the Tanaim bring that it says in the Torah that he should bring it to the gods, lowercase g, Hare kan echad, right? So that when we talk about God, right? So even when with Elohim, it could be one.
Interesting. I have no idea.
Right. Ad ha Elohim yavo davar shnehem. That the 2 of them bring it to God. Hare kan shnayim.
So it's just referencing, and then the next pasuk is Asher Yeshuna Elohim Hare kan Shlosha. So it's referencing every time it says the word Elohim as a
Asher Yeshun Elohim Hare kan Shlosha. So it uses like we said this before. So it uses the word Elohim 3 times in that parsha. So that's where we get the Divrei Rabbi Yeshaya. So this is what Rabbi Yeshaya says. Rabbi Yonatan Omer Rishon Tchila Ne'emar Ve'ein Dorshin Tchilot Rishon Tchila Ne'emar Ve'ein Dorshin Tchilot Ela Ad HaElohim Elohim Yavo Davar Shnehem Hare kan echad asher yashiun Elohim hare kan shnayim ve'en beit din shakol mosifin aleihem od echad. So he darshans it. He says no, you can't darshan the first mention of a matter.
Are these verses all back to back? If it is, I'd love to pull it up.
Yeah, they're all back to back. Yeah, they're all there.
Let me see if I can pull it up. What is it? It's in Genesis 22. I mean, oh shoot, I lost my. It's in. Let's see how quick I can get to them.
Shemot Chof Bet, Zayin Chet, and in Chof Gimel Bet.
Okay, so let me share my screen here. Wait, it's not doing it. Here we go. Share. Let me add the stage. Okay. So let's see what it says here.
Exodus 22:7.
Oh, 22:7. Okay.
Make it a little bit.
Make it bigger?
Yeah.
Okay. So it says, Im lo yimatze haganav,
Mm-hmm.
and if they don't find the thief, v'nikra ba'al bayis Elohim, im lo shalach yado b'mlechas re'ehu. And then it says, Al kol devar pesha, al shor, al chamor, al seh, al sam, al kol aved asher yomer ki hu zeh. So this is all talking about watching, when someone is watching your property and then it turns out that he stole it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ki zehu ad Elohim yavad var shteim. And then again, okay, so it's two psukim. So it says Elohim in this pasuk twice.
Yeah. So you have three mentions of Elohim.
Right.
Right. So first, Rabbi Yeshayahu says we darshan all three of them.
Right.
The second rabbi, who is it? Rabbi Yonatan says no, you can't darshan the first mention.
Right.
You darshan the other two, and since you can't have a beit din shakel, you add a third.
Right. What would be the difference between the two? Like,
but I guess it would be the Rabbanan or the Oraita if you have a din if you have two people, yeah.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Okay, let's see Rashi here. Ein darshan tchilas. Leminyan de legufe asalabai mumchim delhim lashin gedolos v'rabanas. Oh, interesting. So he's saying you can't darshan the first mention of it because the first mention has to come for itself, right? So the first mention of Elohim here is to telling us that the people actually have to be certified judges, like professionals.
Yeah, you darshan that you're explaining from there what you're trying to think. You can't say that as far as the number.
Actually, so he's saying you can't. It's just such an interesting thing because it's like it's a different way of reading the Torah, right? Like he's meaning if it's according to Rav Yoshia that it's symbolic, you would think like who cares if it's symbolic? It's symbolic. It doesn't make a difference, but it's very interesting that Rav Yonasan is like, no, it's not just symbolic. You could use symbolic interpretation, but you also have to first use it for itself. You can't steal for both, which is it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, next Rashi. Ein bezdin shakel, ein osim bezdin zugos. You can't have a pair of judges. The tzarach lekayim bo achrei rabim lahatos, because you have to be able to fulfill the idea that we talk about of that you have to go after the majority. And if you have a 1-to-1 verdict, then in kan rab, then you have no majority, and that's a problem, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what is the next thing that the Gemara has cooking.
Okay. Ne'emar ve'en darshan tchilot ela yavod davar shnehem. Harei kan echad ve'echad yashion Elohim harei kan shnayim ve'en beit din shakel mosifin alehem od echad harei kan shlosha. Nima bedorshan tchilot. So let's say by the one who says that we do darshan the first one, kimiflagi. So
it's together. Nema bedarshan tchilas kimiflagi. Let's say that that the point of contention here is whether or not you darshan tchilas, whether you darshan the first Elohim.
Mhm.
Which I don't even know why the Gemara is like saying that. I thought that's pretty simple, but let's see where it goes. I don't know.
The Mar Savar Dorshan Tchilot, Umar Savar Ein Dorshan Tchilot. La.
Oh, I'm reading it wrong.
Ein Dorshan Tchilot.
You have to read it all as a question. The whole thing's a question, I think. Meaning, I think I could be wrong here, but I think it's
What do you
read.
mean? I mean, I don't understand what you're saying.
Meaning, it's read like this. It's read. Nema b'darshan tchilos kamifili. Are you saying that the point of contention here is the fact whether or not you darshan tchilos and Mar Savar darshan tchilos and Mar Savar ain't darshan tchilos? And one says you do darshan the first word, and one says you don't. Is that what you're trying to say?
Is that what's going on? Lo. The Kula Alma Ein Dorshan Tchila. Everyone agrees you can't darshan the first one. Amar Lacha Rabbi Yeshaya. I don't know how you say his name. Im ken nima kra v'nikra bal habayit el hashofet. So he would say that it could have said that the homeowner could have come to the judge. My El HaElohim. Why does it say bring it to gods? Shema mina leminina minyan to the numbers, right? Minyana. That's it. Rabbi Yonatan lishna de alma nakat, but Rabbi Yonatan says no. This is not. He's not saying you can't darshan the first instance. He's saying that this is just normal way of speaking. Inshi man de itle dina lekarev legabe din Diana. That when people say when you have a judgment, you go to the judges. Rabbi Yeshaya leitle beit din note.
Wait, so we're saying, to summarize this, we're saying that not everyone believes you have to darshan tchilos. So they're not arguing about that. They both actually think that you don't need to darshan it. And
that you don't darshan the first instance.
Correct. So in that case, what would Rav Yoshia say? So Amar Lach Rav Yoshia imke nema krav nikra ba'al vayis el hashofet. So Rav Yoshia would say it should say el hashofet ma Elohim shema mina leminyan. So it must be talking about, it's telling you to add to the minyan.
Yeah.
Okay. And the next step is what? The next step is
to say how Rabbi Yonatan understands it.
But Rav Yonasan, you don't need to explain him because he doesn't darshan tchila.
No, la kule alma.
No, he does. Rav Yoshia is the one who originally we were saying does darshan tchilos. But Rav Yonasan never darshan tchilos, so we don't need to explain him. So what's that next step saying? Oh, so you have to. Okay, I'm sorry. I could be just didn't understand it. That you have to explain why Rav Yonasan didn't agree. Why didn't he view Rav Yoshia?
What's their disagreement?
The Shofet versus Elokim, meaning just like Rav Yoshia darshaned. Wait a second. Hold on a second. Wait, so how are we where are we leaving it with Rav Yoshia? We're saying he doesn't darshan chilos, but the reason why he was able to make it count because it could have just said Shofet, right?
Yeah, it could have.
Oh, okay. So then we have to address that point, and we say Rav Yonasan is talking about it's like the way people speak. I think I'm still.
Does Rashi say?
Let's see. So Im Kain Delo Lemedrashe Asa Liksov El Shofet. If it's not coming for a drasha to tell us, then it should have just said El Shofet. Legabedina Eitzel Dayin Haragil Velo Eitzel Hedios. Legabedina. The Amrichiman the Isladina Likro Legabedina Eitzel Adin Ragil Velo Eitzel Hedio. Meaning, my understanding is somehow that Rav Yonasan is saying that when the Torah says Elohim, that's like a standard way people speak when they talk about going to court, and
Right.
therefore not something that's darshanable, which is the most yeshivish phrase you could say.
Darshanable.
I think that's what he's saying, but my only thing, what I don't understand about that is he's quoting what people say, and he doesn't say the word Elohim. He's talking about
Dina.
Yeah, that's what I'm a little bit.
And from what I understand, Rashi seems to be going in a very different way. Because Rabbi Yeshaya is starting off, he's saying, it says El Elohim, because you need a mumcha.
Yeah.
But according to Rabbi Yonatan, you don't need to darshan that. You don't need to learn out of, because you already, obviously, if you're going to go to a court, you're going to go to court with a judge.
Yeah.
The Mar Savar Dorshan Tchilot, the Mar Savar Ein Dorshan Tchilot. La, the Kule Alma Ein Dorshan Tchilot. Amar Rav Yeshaya Im Ken Nema Kra V'Nikra Bal Habayit El Hashofet. My El Elohim. Amina Leminayna Leminyina. Rabbi Yonatan Lishna de Almanaka. The Amri Nishi Inshi Man the Itle Dina Likrav Legabe Diana. Rabbi Yeshaya Leitle Beitin Note. Lehatanya.
Somehow, oh wait, let me think for a second. So, Yoshia's point is that it's not that basically Rav Yoshia's point is that Elohim is a higher level. It could have just said Shofet. Once it says Elohim, now you can use it to as now it makes it something you can actually make a drasha on. And Rav Yonasan is essentially saying that you can't make a drasha on this because it's the way people speak. This is actually very standard. How he fits that into how that actually works, I don't understand, but I think that's what he's saying. He's basically saying this mention of Elohim here is not notable. It's not actually something that's unusual, and that's really the argument here. The argument is this expression unusual or not, and that creates their difference of opinion.
But like you said, he doesn't. I mean, he says Dina and Diana, it's like the word. It's not normal for people to say the word Elohim.
Yeah, but it could be. I
That
don't
it
know.
was during the time of the Torah.
It's very odd. Well, is that the end of the Gemara or it continues? Let's see what's the next.
This Gemara, like it's, yeah. The next two dots are,
No, but it doesn't always end by the 2 dots. Sometimes it shifts like
yeah, but it's not.
Let's see what it says. What's the next? It says Lo Dekli Ama Ein Dash Techilas, and then
It goes into a whole thing of the Beit Din Shakel and whether you need 70 or 71 by a Sanhedrin Gedola. Yeah, I tried to get to the end of the Gemara. It's very long.
so it says Rav Yoshia Leslie Bezdin Nota. So that's the next part. Is the Gemara
Yeah.
asking the question.
The question is, can you have Beit Din Shakel or not? And there's a whole Shakel and Tarya on whether or not you can have a Beit Din Shakel.
Oh, but wait. Why are we asking this question? Because I understand that Rav Yonasan, obviously in the original way we're understanding it, he was able to learn out 3 because he couldn't have an even court. So the Gemara is suggesting that because Rav Yoshia had to use all 3 terms, it must mean he thought a Beth and Chuckle is a possible option, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't it quote him to say you can have a Beit Din of 6 or 8?
What? Where does it say that? Rashi says what I'm talking about actually about Rav Yoshia, the Rashi Rav Yoshia. Debai kra la suye shlishi, since he needed the pasuk to say Elohim 3 times. Mi lesle bezdin nota. Sarich.
Yeah, so Rashi's the one that Uladide Arba Shisha Kasherin. He says you can have a Beit Din of 4 or 6.
Oh, because if he does need it to be uneven,
then what do you need? Where do you get the third?
Yeah, so why do you need the 3 times where it says Elohim? That's crazy. Okay. But the Gemara is going to ask on this. So the Gemara is not accepting that as it's. Then the Gemara asks, but Tanya, we see in a Brisa. Go for
it. Where were we?
We are.
In Shiman the Itle Dina Lakarev Lagabe Diana. Rabbi Yeshaya Leitle Beit Din Note. Vatanya Rabbi Eliezer Beno Shel Rabbi Yosei Haglili Omer Ma Talmud Lomar Lintot Acharei Harabim Latot HaTorah Amra Aselecha Beit Din Note. So you have to make a Beit Din that can actually have a majority. Sara like Rabbi Yehuda the Amar Shivim, that he actually, so I guess Rabbi Yeshaya believes like Rabbi Yehuda, who says that you can have a Sanhedrin Gedola of 70. The Tana Sanhedrin Gedola Haita Shel Shivim V'Achad. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Shivim. Right? So Rabbi Yehuda disagrees and says you can have 70. Imar the Shmad le Rabbi Yehuda b'Sanhedrin Gedola. The Chtivi cry b'shar beidina mishmatle. So Rabbi Yehuda, he's saying by a Sanhedrin Gedola. Who says that this applies to a smaller Beit Din? The Kitema la shna. And if you say that it doesn't make a difference, v'hatanan smichat zakenim v'arifat agla b'shlosha divrei Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yehuda omer b'chamisha. Those things can be done by 3. Rabbi Yehuda says you need 5. V'amrin on my time, Mother Rabbi Yehuda, when you say why does he need 5 people? V'samchu shnayim ziknei shnayim, ve'ein beit din shakol mosifin aleihem. So Rabbi Yehuda is saying by Egla Garufa that you can't have a beit din shakol. Odechad. Harekan Hashem Harekan Chamisha. You have 5. The Rabbi Yoshaya Adifa Midar Rabbi Yehuda. The Ilu Rabbi Yehuda b'Sanhedrin Gedola, who the late lay. So Rabbi Yoshaya says something more than Rabbi Yehuda. That Rabbi Yehuda thinks that Ein Beit Din Shakol only applies by a Sanhedrin Gedola, by the Great Sanhedrin. But for Rabbi Yeshaya, no, it's by every Beit Din that you don't need, you can have Beit Din Shakol. Hashar Beidina itle Rabbi Yeshaya b'shar Beidina nami leitle. Ve'elahai lintot mai avidle. So if it's
Wait, so what are you going to do with? This is what I was trying to share before. I was trying to share that pasuk. I couldn't find it though. It's on. Here it is. No, I found it. So I think this whole discussion is about this pasuk. Lo yiyachei rabban l'ros, v'lo sana al riv lintos. So you should not side with the majority to convict, and you should not lean with the minority. V'lo sana al riv. No, what is this? Oh, the main pasuk is this: Achrei rabban l'hatos. That you should always go in the after the majority. Right? Isn't that what it's saying here? So it's saying what you just read. You said the Elahai lintos my avid. Right. So what are you going to do with this pasuk? I think it's referring to this the word in this verse. I think.
My avid le mokim le bedina nefashot. He said that only applies to dina nefashot.
Right.
Ava bedina mamonot lo. Ela had tanan shnaim omrim zakai v'chad omer chayav. Zakai shnayim omrim chayav v'chad.
V'chad omer zakai.
V'chad omer zakai chayav. Nema delo k'Rabbi Yeshaya. Afilu tema Rabbi Yeshaya maitet le bekal v'chomer. So he learns it out of bekal v'chomer. Medine nefashot. Uma dine nefashot t'chamri. Amar Rachmana zil batar ruba. Dina mamano lo kol sheken. So he learns a kal v'chomer since we have a dine nefashot. You have to have a majority. When it comes to monetary matters, which are lesser matters, you don't have to have a majority.
We're basically doing Daf Yomi right now. This is like flying through the page.
We certainly flew through that one page. I mean, it's Amud Yomi, but yeah.
Well, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, we started on the 2 dots at the top.
Yeah. Boy, so let's go to Rashi, and then maybe we'll go through the Gemara again.
Okay.
Let's see. Vatanya Vaikar Darish, Savrle Rav Yoshia Kir Yehuda the Amar Sanhedrin Gedola Shivim, the Havile Zugos, that the Grand Sanhedrin has 70, where there are pairs. Vikar Muka Lekaman Lidrasha Achrisi. When it says the Havile Zugos, that means it's equal, meaning that's what it means?
Yeah, that it's that you can pair up the judges.
Right. I don't know what that means exactly. Tiksivi Krai Lakaman Bashili Pirkin. Smichas Zakena Arosh Pareda, that's when they lean on the cow. Ain Bezdin Shakal, Vestam Zakenim Bezdin Betidin Mashma. And Stam Zakenim.
Anytime you mention Zakenim, yeah.
Adifar Yehuda Kalamar Yoshia Chizak as the Varim Yoser Yehuda. So Rav Yoshia was like strengthened his words even beyond Rabbi Yehuda, just strengthened his opinion. Ela Highland of my Avidle, Bishlam Rabbi Yehuda Mukile Bishar Bezdin, right? It looks good for Rabbi Yehuda because he establishes it with other Bezdin that are not 70. Rav Yoshia doesn't have that. But Dini Nefashos, Sheiskayim Bo Hetiescha Latova, Alpi Echad. That you can make someone innocent just by having one in the majority. Kedamrina Kedam Rabbi Nisan. And if there's zugos, you cannot have that kind of leaning with less than two people.
Right. So you're achare harabim latot latova, right? So you have to have a situation where you could vote by one to let a person go. Right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a Sanhedrin of 70, right? So it's not possible that you would have a 36-35. You could only have a 36-34. So there's no achare harabim latot latova.
That's for Dina Nefashos. Right? So if you have
for Rabbi Yeshaya, yeah, you have to. Rabbi Yeshaya believes that achare harabim lahatot is only by dinei nafashos, it's not by dinei mamanos. So when we're talking about a beit din of 3, 4, 6, right? All of those are kosher because there's no achare harabim lahatot. Right. Rabbi Yehuda, on the other hand, says no. You have to the Great Sanhedrin is of 70 dafka, but of less than that, you by dinei mamonot you still have achare rabim lahatot ein beit din shakel.
Right. Got it. Okay. Next Rashi says Lema Talo Rav Yoshia. The Rav Yoshia Kevan de Shlishi Mikra Yelflu V'lav Mishum Notet Tzarech Shetei Das Shlashtan Shava. Because if it was like Rav Yoshia, then you would learn it out from the 3 mentions of Elohim. V'lav Mishum Notet Tzarech Shetei Das Shlashtan Shava. You have to go back to the Gemara here to understand this. Can we try to say this like outside of what's happening here? So let me see.
We can try.
So basically, we established that Rav Yoshia is basically going to be using the 3 Elohims in order to establish that we need 3 judges. And then the Gemara says, but is it possible that Rav Yoshia believes that a bezdin that's equal is a good bezdin? Basically. Hold
on, no. Let's start at the beginning, right? We're talking about why is there 3? So Rabbi Yoshia says there's 3 because the pasuk says 3 times Elohim.
Yeah.
Right. Then we bring Rabbi Yonasan, and he says Yonasan. Then he says no, you can't darshan the first mention. You have 2 extra mentions, so that's 2 numbers, and then you can't have a beit din shakel. And then we say no, both of them. Rabbi Yoshia agrees you can't darshan the first one, right?
Yeah.
But what's going on here? He says that it's a weird language to mention Elohim, you should say shofet.
Right.
That's what he's darshan,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And we say with Rabbi Yonasan that he says no. It's a normal way to talk, to say that we bring to a judge, right? And that's what it says when it's uses the word Elohim. So no, you can't darshan it. So that's their difference is over the use of the word, right?
Yeah.
And then we get into the question of, but Rabbi Yoshia says that what's the difference between them? The difference is whether or not you can have a Beit Din Shakel, because Rabbi Yoshia believes that you can have a Beit Din Shakel. So we bring, and we say he agrees with Rabbi Yehuda, who said that a Sanhedrin, a great Sanhedrin, has 70 members. But then we say no. Rabbi Yehuda only believed that specifically about the great Sanhedrin. He believed that by smaller, like the Smichat Zakenim, right? You ain beited shakel. So Rabbi Yoshia actually has a strict, a different view, a stronger view than Rabbi Yehuda. He believes that it's by dine nefashot that you can't have a beit din shakel. By dine mamonot, you can have a beit din shakel.
Right. That was well done.
Was it?
Yeah. Let me just see.
These are really long sugyas.
Yeah, welcome to the big leagues. This is crazy. This is never like you that ever shivim.
Can you imagine if we were trying to learn these be'in?
We are trying to learn it be'in.
This is not be'in.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Unless you pull out the Shulchan Aruch, all of these are dinim in Choshen Mishpat. Unless you're pulling out Choshen Mishpat, this is not Iriyan.
I've never been so hurt in my life.
I'm not even talking about like the Mefarshim on Choshen Mishpat. Like, you know, Yeshiva University has a whole journal of contemporary halacha, which probably has like articles and articles and articles just on this sugya.
Yosef takes care of that for us. He's Moteas. So wait, so I want to just go through that piece again inside. So Riosa where to go? I missed it. Rav Yosha Leslie Bezdin Nota, Vatanya Relazer Benosha Glili, Amamatam Lizis Ache Rabim, Lahatos, Hator Amra Asala Bezdin Nota. Right, that you have to have a judge a Bezdin that can go one way or the other. Sarvalek Yehuda the Amar Shivim, that's only by 70. Tan Tajik Dola Haisa Shashim Be'echad. Yehuda Amar Shivim. So Amar the Shamas Later Yehuda Besanhedra Gedola. So what is that piece saying? So Amar the Shamas Later Yehuda Besanhedra Gedola, the Ksivi Cry. Bishar, oh, okay. So you could say that
he learns it out from Pesukim.
The Ksivi Cry. Bishar B'dina Mishamas Lay. Who says he believes like that? B'chitema Loshna Vatanan. Yehuda Amar B'chamisha. Ramina, my time here, v'sapru shnayim ziknei shnayim, ve'im bezdin shakel. Mosif
Rabbi
alayim
Yehuda says beferish ain't
Hey, hey. Okay. So then is that a question? Yehuda, Adif or Yehuda? So then it establishes. Hey.
Harekan Chamisha, the Rabbi Yeshua Adifa mit the Rabbi Yehuda.
Oh, and the point they're bringing is that we see that Rabbi Yehuda himself differentiates between the two.
Rabbi Yehuda believes Ein Beit Din Shakel, which isn't what Rabbi Yoshaya says. Rabbi Yehuda himself is saying Ein Beit Din Shakel, right? The Amrinan my time of the Rabbi Yehuda, the Samchu Shnayim Ziknei Shnayim. The Ein Beit Din Shakel Masifin Aleihem Od Echad. Harekan Chamisha. The Rabbi Yeshaya Adifa the Rabbi Yehuda. The Ilu Rabbi Yehuda B'Sanhedrin Gedola, who the late lay Ha Bashar Beidina Itle.
Oh, so meaning we're breaking it down that okay. Got it. So Rabbi Yehuda, who in one instance for the Great Sanhedrin, he believes you can have 70.
Yeah, you learn that from you learn that from Pesukim, right, that there's 70 in Sanhedrin.
He won't say it by the lower courts. He won't say that same thing. Okay.
But Rabbi Yeshaya says no. There's no din of the Ein Beit Din Shakel.
Right. Got it.
Except by the Dinei Nefashos, and that's why. So he actually believes that the Sanhedrin Gedola has to be 71.
Right. But he it's across the board. He would believe it's meaning Rav Yoshia would believe across the board it has to be Ein Beit Din Shakel because I'm sorry, across the board within Dinei
Nefashos, but Dinei Nefashos is, I mean, some people.
It's not about. So to him, it's not about whether or not it's the Supreme Court or the lower courts. It just matters whether it's Dinei Mamonos, Dinei Nefashos. Is that how it works?
Well, only a Sanhedrin can see it. I think there's a difference of opinion whether you can have even a Sanhedrin Katana do Dinei Nefashos, but so you can't have a Beit Din less than 23 on Dinei Nefashos.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Dinei Nefashos has to be at least 23.
Right. So then the last point of the Gemara is it brings this Mishnah. Where was it? Where'd it go? El Hatatan Shnayim Omer Zakai Echad Omer Chayev Zakai Shnayim Omer Chayev Echad Omer Zakai. In all the cases, they're chayiv, right? So
hold on, you're going after the two dots?
No, before the two dots. It's the last point before the two dots. So El Hadatan Shnayim Omrim Zakai. Two judges said the guy's innocent. Mm-hmm. Then one judge says this guy's guilty. In another case is in that case. Oh, sorry. The Gemara says, the Mishnah says in that case it's innocent, right? If two say innocent and one says guilty, it's innocent. But if two say guilty and one says innocent, it's guilty.
No. Chayev. Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So name of the local Rav Yoshia. So let's say it's not like Rav Yoshia.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it not like Rav Yoshia? Why not? Why is it not like Rav Yoshia? Because he says that.
Because he says.
Wait, is this talking about Dinei? No, I can't be talking about Dinei Nefashos.
Chayav and Zakai, I guess, should be Dinei Nefashos. No.
Oh, interesting what Rashi says. Now I finally understand this Rashi. Lema dal Rav Yoshia. The Ikar Rav Yoshia, if it's like Rav Yoshia, came in the Shlishim Yikraya, since we learned out the 3 from the Pasuk, the Lav Mishum Nota, and it's not because of Nota, Sarach Dash Slashtim Shava. You have to have all 3 saying the same thing.
Right. You can't, yeah.
Okay. So the Gemara answers, name of the low Rav Yoshia. So, no, I feel the name of Rav Yoshia. Even says like Rav Yoshia, Ma'aslei B'Kavachomer Midin Nefashas. Umadin Nefashas, the Chamiri, Amarachman Azil Basar Rova, by Din Nefashas, where we say go after Rov, Din Nefashas, the Koshikim, we should definitely go after Rov. So he can have it both ways, essentially. Rav Yoshia can have his cake and eat it too.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Because he can do that. He could have his drushas of darshaning 3, but he also can. He can also at the same time still have acharei rabbim lahatos.
Because you need all 3 to say that it's guilty.
Correct. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Well done.
We're already on page 3b.
Unreal.
We've done a whole daf.
Daf and a half, people are saying. Check the comments.
Ika de Imre. There are those who say daf and a half.
Exactly.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. We are going to end this. It was nice meeting you people.
Yes, thank you.